What's going on, everybody? My name is Jay Static, and this is the Static Sessions. Today, we're going to be talking about recording a vocal. Now, in recording a vocal, there's a lot of steps that are included, a lot of things that you need to know before recording a vocal. Some of you might have, full-blown fast CPUs or computers and this and that, and recording a vocal is going to be a little bit easier for you, especially if you have a lot of RAM and fast CPU. When it comes down to guys who, are average, and including myself, who just have, good computers, a good amount of RAM, good amount of CPU speed, you're going to be needing these tips and tricks in order to kind of make this happen. One of the most important things, CPU. It's really important. It'll help with your buffer speed. It'll help with how fast your computer can handle a live source coming in as it's being recorded. That's a key and crucial thing. So having a fast CPU will help out. And how it'll help out is with your buffer speeds. So you'll notice, we'll turn to your computer. So you'll notice if in Ableton Live, if you go to Preferences, you have this option here underneath latency, which says buffer size. Underneath here, you'll see that I already had it set to 2,000 samples, but you have the option of using all of these. Now, the lower you go in buffer size, the more CPU intensive it gets, because the more live it becomes, the more direct it becomes. If I was recording at 2,000 samples, the artist would hear a delay in his headphones. Now, if you go down to 256, 128, it's much better. But again, a lot more CPU intensive, especially if you're trying to record with effects on. So today, for myself, I'm going to be recording at 256 because I think it's a generally good amount, where it's pretty much real time. The artist, for the most part, unless you're getting to hardcore, like percussionists who can hear every hit, for the most part, you're going to be hearing yourself pretty direct, pretty live. So now, if you're putting on effects to record live with, such as, auto-tune, some compression, that stuff's pretty easy, and you can get auto-tune live, which is great for recording direct. And then you also got like your Waves type of plugins, which are pretty CPU intensive, but you can get away with using one or two of them. If you have UAD and UAD plugins, it's much easier to get away with using UAD plugins because they're being processed separately through your Thunderbolt or USB-C into one of the UAD cards. Now, that's a lot easier, and that's the way I go about it, just because I'm trying to alleviate all the stress from my CPU. So once you figure out your artist is here, you've got some of your effects lined up, and you know exactly how you're going to be recording the vocal, you also want to make sure you're set up correctly. So set up correctly means, you want to make sure the mic you have, what kind of mic you have, because there's so many different types of mics. You got your, ribbon mics, condenser mics, dynamic mics, you got all that kind of stuff. Some of them require 48 volts of phantom power, and some don't require anything. If you end up putting 48 volts on, say, a dynamic mic, you won't really cause it any damage at all. It's just going to send something, but it's not going to do anything to your mic. But if you send 48 volts to, say, a ribbon mic, you can blow that actual the diaphragm that's on the inside. You can actually pop it with the 48 volts. So you want to make sure whatever you're hooking up, make sure that you know when to use 48 volts, when not to. And the 48 volts button is usually on your interface itself. You just click the phantom power or 48 volt button, you're good to go. You'll hear your condenser mic. When it comes out to dynamic mics, again, don't have to worry about it. Just hook it up, good to go. Ribbon mics, you got to be careful. They're usually powered or not powered at all, or they're powered separately with a unit in line with your XLR, and then you'll get some sort of, because it requires a different amount of voltage. I'm not sure what it is, or if some of them are different or not, but just want to be careful with that kind of stuff. Now, after that, make sure your XLRs are hooked up into your preamp, and you're pretty much good to go. Today, I'm using the Universal Audio Apollo Twin. Really simple preamp, good to use. You never have to really worry about anything. It's super straightforward and simple. You can either use the hardware itself, or if we turn over into the UAD console, you can use this. So you can see I've already got my feed coming in. You're pretty much good to go with that. And all you have to do is set up your inputs. See, here's the 48 volts over here, and here's I have a low cut. I only have a low cut for my mic right now, just because I don't want to hear anything that might be happening in other studios. We have multiple studios in this place, so you might actually be hearing some stuff. If you do, it's just the other studios which are running at the same time. In terms of the mic we're going to be using, that's over here right now. This is Analog 2. So we have an Audio Technica 2020, I believe it is in there. So we're going to be using that to record. Within that, I just brought up the level for now. We're going to be setting our levels as we go. We have the 48 volts turned on because it needs it. I have the low cut, but we can turn that off. We also got a pad if you ever need it. Pad's really simple. It just reduces the volume, attenuates it by a certain amount. I'm not sure how much it attenuates with the Apollo, but it's probably 10 or 20 dB. And then you also have a phase button. Now, phase buttons are used when you're recording in stereo or multiple microphones, and you're trying to eliminate one microphone from the other one so that it doesn't sound like there's a phasing happening. And a phasing is like, you could kind of relate it to like a flangey type of sound. You'll hear something like that. That's pretty much what phasing is. In order to get rid of that, you need to unphase one of the microphones. So flip the phase, and then they'll fit in together and they'll be fine. For the most part, you're still probably going to have some issues, but for the most part, it'll be fine. Cool thing with Universal Audio is because it comes with its own plugins, we can actually insert our own preamps if we wanted to. So by clicking on this plus, we can go down, select, say, a preamp from here, click on it, and we're good to go. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to keep it super simple and straightforward. I just want to go in, use the Unison, and call it a day. Unison meaning the Unison preamp. Call it a day, good to go, start recording. So another thing your artist might want, he might want a roll-in, so like a count-in to when he's going to start. This usually happens when you have your beat set up on bar 1, which means you have no room before it to kind of count them in. So what you would want to do is just set it up as right here in your preference section underneath record, warp, and launch. Click on it. You can click on 1 bar, 2 bar, or 4 bars. I think 4 bars is way too much. We would probably be 1 or 2 bars. We'll do 1 in this case just to show you. And then once you click on that, you get rid of this. You can set this to 1 bar, super easy. Set this metronome up, and you should be able to hear a count in at this point. And that's it. It's good to go. That's all you have to do. This way, they're ready to go. So we'll do that for this just to give you an idea. I'm probably going to get rid of it at one point because we're going to be in the middle of our session anyways. So I don't want to keep having that 1 bar roll-in come in. But this is a good thing to do. The other thing you can do is without having the roll-in is just move it over. And then you can start it from the beginning of the track, have the metronome on, and then once you hit play, it'll just count in through that part, and then the beat will start anyways. But yeah, that is it for that. Actually, we'll do it this way for this. It makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to get rid of this 1 bar now. So now we would just go like this. That's pretty much like a 4 bar count in, so we won't need that. We're going to be needing this. Easy, good to go. So now that you guys have kind of the basics of what's going to be happening when you're recording a vocal, from this point forward, we're going to be actually recording a vocal. And today we're going to be recording a vocal with Deep Jandu. So once he comes in, we'll figure out some ways where we can, set his levels, start recording the tracks, make sure he can hear himself, make sure his auto-tune's on, make sure you can hear all that stuff. That way you guys get an idea of what it actually is and what it takes to record a vocal. So today in the studio, we got Deep Jandu. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a test recording. We're just going to be throwing down a random vocal or random lyric that he's got in his place, and then putting it on top of a beat that I made a little while ago, seeing if you guys can just get an idea of what it takes to record a vocal. So in the booth, Deep, what's going on? You ready to go? Ready to go?
Yeah, ready.
So before we start off, what we're going to do is really simply setting a level. So number one thing is making sure that the level that he's going to be recording at is a good recording level. You don't want anything too crazy loud. You don't want anything too quiet. If it's too quiet, you're going to bring up noise and other sounds in the background. If it's too loud, it's going to be distorted. So he's not going to be really able to hear himself at this point, but we're just trying to set a level so that our recording level is good. Then we can boost up the level afterwards, which is in post, so that he can hear himself properly. So Deep, I'm just going to press play on the beat. Yeah, that's right. I got to be able to make sure I can talk to him. So talk back is very important. I don't record very much. As you can tell, I'm more of a mixing guy, but we're still going to be going through some recording. So Deep, what we're going to do is I'm going to press play on the beat. Cool. And then you're not going to really be able to hear yourself, but we're just going to be setting your level, and then I'll boost everything so you can hear yourself properly. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
So that was a good level. So really simply now, I'm sure he wants to hear himself with autotune. He wants to hear himself a lot louder because I'm pretty sure you can't hear yourself,
I can't
right?
hear myself, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn all that stuff up right now, and I'm going to get him to sing while I'm loading up a couple of things just to make sure it works. But first, before we do that, let's load up some autotune. So I'm just pushing this down so the Deep can hear me at the same time. But I'm setting up AutoTune Pro really easily. You want to set it to low latency mode. I already know the song's on E, but you got to figure out what key your song is in and know what keys you got to take out. Since I know it's an E minor, I know what I got to take out already, which is F and all the sharps. And then boom. I set the humanize to 0 because I know Deep likes it that way. And then set the autotune kind of hard so we know what notes he might not be hitting. And then from there, we can figure out what's going on. I also just set up a compressor really easily. Compressor and EQ, you know, let him be able to hear himself properly and get rid of anything that's kind of crap on the low end. So I'm going to press play on the beat again. Now just start singing, and then I'm going to start bringing up your level and all that stuff.
You going to count me in, or?
You want me to count you in?
Okay, yeah, please.
Okay.
ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆਂ ਆਓ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ
One more time.
That's cool. But do you hear yourself properly?
I hear myself.
Do you want more reverb or do you want delay reverb?
I think it's good.
Huh?
I think it's good. Let's do it one more
Okay,
time.
cool. So we're going to start off by recording. I'm going to do this because this beat's got like a little bit of loop at the beginning. I'm going to start it actually from the beat, and then I'm going to be counting in Deep so that you can record it properly. So all I did to boost his level was put an EQ in, a little bit of compression, boosted the makeup gain, and then he likes where he's at. If he needs himself louder or quieter, he'll let me know throughout the track.
ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆਂ ਆਓ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ
Do that once, right?
Yeah.
So one more time.
Do it once. I can repeat it if you want to.
Yeah?
You want to repeat it? Like just so we can hold on a second.
No, let's do it once. Let's do it once. Let's do it once.
Do it once?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆਂ ਆਓ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ
One more time.
ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆਂ ਆਓ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਅੱਗ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਬਲਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਿਓ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ
Punch me.
Huh?
Is that the vibe?
Yeah, that's the vibe. I'm just, you know what? Let's do it twice. It
Okay.
sounds better twice.
Okay,
and
cool.
we recorded it twice.
Cool.
1 second. Just do it the way you normally did it, and then let's go into it that way.
ਆਓ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁੰਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਅੱਗ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਬਲਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਵੈਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ
Bomb. So that's what we'll pick up from. Ready?
Yep.
So now I got to throw in auto-tune on the second track just to make sure he's got it. And make sure you save as you go because you do not want to get screwed by not saving. But start him off a little bit earlier so we can catch where he's going to be moving it from. Ready?
Yep.
Nope. Ready?
Yeah, yep.
Cool.
ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਅੱਗ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਬਲਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ
Let's do it one more time.
Okay.
You down?
ਵਾਲਿਆ ਅੱਗ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਬਲਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ
Yeah, that was way better. Cool. Now we're going to do left and rights, and then we'll do ad-libs afterwards. Or you want to do ad-libs first?
Let's do ad-libs.
Okay, cool.
From the starting, I'll punch in the hook line too.
Yep, sounds good. So I'm going to start it. I'll tell you when to come in.
ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁੰਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਆਓ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁੰਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਅੱਗ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਬਲਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ
Bomb, killed it. One take. Let's do another one. Now, in this case, for auto-tune, you also got to set the pitch reference to the right channel. It's a key thing. A lot of people don't do that. Ready?
Yep.
Nope. There you go. Ready?
Yep.
ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁੰਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਆਓ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਨੀ ਪੁੰਨੀਆਂ ਬਲੱਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਯਾਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੂੜ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਅੱਗ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਬਲਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ ਜੱਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੂਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਉਹ ਤੇਰਾ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਬੱਲਿਆ
Bomb. That's it. Recorded it. Good to go. Those are, 4 easy takes. Deep, are you happy with these?
I'm happy.
Down. So that's it. That's what it takes to basically record a vocal. Nothing crazy. We're going to let Deep get on with his day because I've already used up enough of his time trying to get this done. What we did was recorded a basic vocal. Throughout this series, we're going to be going through all the going through other techniques like vocal lining, adding in effects, doing all that kind of stuff. Right now, just taking a look at the vocal, everything looks great. Usually we end up recording with, reverb delays, all that kind of stuff. We didn't in this case. But if you ever wanted to, it's as simple as literally these two. I have 4 sends set up for my reverb and delays. For whichever reason, if you want to use more reverb, want to use more delay, you literally just boost this and you can hear the difference as we speak. So what I'll do is I'll show you guys what it sounds like. That's it. Easy for him to hear if you wanted to hear it that way. Without reverb and delay, you kind of hear the vocal a little bit more, and you get to see if he's out of place, if he's out of key. That stuff comes out a little bit easier, so it's better to do it that way if you can. But again, it all depends on the artist. Artist needs the vibe. Artist needs to feel it. So if he needs reverb and delay, put it on there and deal with it afterwards. It's a different age about recording these days. It's not much about, oh, we got to get you know, the perfect vocal or the perfect this. It's more about vibes. Make sure the vibe is right. Make sure they're getting the best feeling for the song and the vocal, and you're good to go. So that's it in terms of recording a vocal. In the future episodes, we will be doing vocal line plugins, all that kind of stuff. If you guys have any questions about what I did, whether it was recording, what I didn't maybe, you know, touch on, if there's things that you're like, oh, you missed this part or you skimmed over this part, please let me know. I'll help you guys out. In terms of the plugins that I used, honestly, I didn't do much at all. I kept it really simple, just a EQ and a compressor. If you want to throw on a JJP vocals like I do sometimes, throw it on there. It may cause a delay, it might not. Just pay attention to your CPU usage. It's very, very important to do that, because you also don't want to have issues where the vocal's taking too long, the vibe dies, any of that kind of stuff. If you guys did like this video, please comment, subscribe, hit that little bell for future notifications. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.